Hey everybody, welcome back to our live stream here of the game plan. This is the Roundtable. I'm Giancarlo Aulino, and as always, Michael Asiffo, Aaron Zaretsky here to talk all the latest about what's going on in MLSE and now TKO with two companies, billion-dollar corporations that are doing business, I guess the right way, depending on who you ask. But we're going to start off with the Leafs because they won a draft lottery. A lot of people are upset depending on which market. But Aaron, I'll start off with you. What was your reaction when the Leafs pulled this off?
Um, Very surprised, happy and surprised. Going into the draft lottery, like I was just hoping that the Leafs would be able to stay in the top five so that their pick doesn't go to Boston. And for that not to only happen, but to shoot up all the way to number one, like just so happy. And it will be a big boost to the Leafs' new management team and for next season's outlook.
Yeah, Michael, what are your thoughts of the Leafs needed number 12, and surprisingly, with the percentage going down, they ended up getting it. So, was there funny business, you think?
um, there's always a conspiracy theory here and a conspiracy theory there about whether or not somebody won the lottery and if it was by nefarious means and like for example, the NBA in Dallas that 1 year when they got
Yeah.
the 1 year, like literally last year when they got Cooper Flag with the number one overall pick after trading away Luka Doncic. There's always that like, hey, this looks funny. But just I think it's always good to just live in the moment. And if you're a fan of the Leafs, you gotta love this. The draft apparently is pretty strong.
Oh, well, we lost Michael. Oh,
Uh-oh.
well, technical difficulties here. We'll get Michael back. Yeah, Aaron, you just talk about the draft being strong here. Oh, we got Michael back. We got Michael back. Here we go.
I
We got Michael.
apologize. I
No
apologize
worries.
for the technical difficulties. Yeah, as I was saying, draft is pretty strong this year. So we should be expecting to get something good. And it's just a matter of developing that young cub with the Marlies, and then bringing him up, and maybe he's gonna play day one. But my point is that we're gonna get some good hauls. We're gonna get 8 good hauls, excuse me, to help with the growing nature of our team being in a rebuild and all.
Yeah, I agree. And it's also like an interesting time too, because the Leafs had all this uncertainty with Austin Matthews and William Nylander. There were reports there that Austin Matthews was going to see how the new management team of John Chayka, Matt Sundin were going to, improve the roster, and then he would make his decision. I'll start with you, Aaron, with Matt Sundin and Chayka coming in and lucking into a draft lottery win and getting a potential generational talent in McKenna. Do you think Matthews is going to lean towards staying with the Leafs, or do you think he's still going to be head set on, off looking at and exploring the trade market and leaving the Leafs?
Well, with the Leafs winning the draft lottery, that will definitely help Matthews in terms of staying with the Leafs, and I guess maybe be more willing to see how next season plays out, see how the moves that the Leafs make in the offseason to strengthen their team. And and then I think depending on how next season goes, that will ultimately decide if Matthews wants to, maybe get traded or to stay with the Leafs even more on a long term basis. Um, Hopefully, because the Leafs really need Matthews to be engaged, to be committed. Even though the Leafs do have the number one pick, they're not going to go anywhere if Matthews isn't fully focused and engaged with the team. Um, so I'm just, as a Leafs fan, I'm just hopeful that Matthews stays. Because if Matthews goes, then yes, too. If Matthews were to be traded, Leafs can get a lot for him. which, if that's the route they did want to take up a full rebuild. But I do see with this number one pick, it's gonna change the course in terms of like, okay, we're not gonna do a full rebuild now. We're gonna try to, get back into the playoff mix.
Michael, do you think they should look at still trading Matthews if he's not really committed, or see how this first overall pick pans out?
Look, there's no loyalty in sports. You got to do what's best for the team, and the players got to do what's best for the player. So if Matthews doesn't feel like the team is going to be able to compete during his prime, and those years when he is, in line to win a cup, then by all means he should be exploring free agency, and I would wish him the best. And on the other side, if the Leafs feel like, hey, we don't want to get Mitch Marner again, go ahead and make that trade. So it's one of those things where I'm open to anything, and they're in the room. They know how Matthews is feeling. They're staying down with him, and not everyone has the Masai touch to be able to get guys to stay here. So that's kind of up to them. What I will say though is that from a performance standpoint, I wonder, and this is not me, trying to just be a negative Nancy, but I wonder how much leverage Matthews has as a guy who just hasn't been able to really make a deep run in the playoffs. This is a guy who's only been past the second round, twice, and hasn't scored in a game 7 ever. In all the Leafs history, and all the times he's been in the playoffs, he's never scored in game 7. And really, honestly, if you look at his playoff numbers, they're pretty pedestrian. So again, how much leverage do you have to say, hey, I want to go to a team that competes, when you are kind of one of the reasons why the team doesn't compete? Like, what is there to say if you're one of the reasons why the team doesn't compete as the captain, mind you? But that said, he should be looking for the best possible opportunity for him.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be an interesting couple months, especially with the draft coming up. But something that is a certainty, and God bless him, he's promoting this team, saying that they're all rebuilds, everything's fine. But Keith Pelly at a press conference, that's somebody that doesn't have the Masai touch when it comes to talking to the reporters. So, Michael, I don't know if you saw his press conferences, but what are your thoughts on this? And do they need to, sit him down an hour or 2 hours before and run down scenarios to improve the end result here?
So this is one of the first times Keith Pelly has actually done an open press conference if I can remember, in quite some time. He doesn't really stand in front of the camera much. And so he doesn't have the same kind of, I guess, public speaking chops like Masai, the aforementioned Masai. Shout out to Masai Ujiri in Dallas, by the way. Great partnership. But I think so that's part of it. But I think the other part of it is that MLSC in Toronto has not been looked at favorably. They've been looked at as a bunch of suits who care about the bottom line and not much else. At least the perception. That is the perception. I don't know if that's the reality. I'm not in the room. I don't know. Right. So understand that when I'm talking about these things, I'm talking about the perception amongst the fans. And amongst the fans, they are looked at as greedy, grub-handed, and suits who do not care about putting a product forward. They care about the bottom line, and they care about their personal relationships. Is anyone here going to disagree with that perception? No?
No, if
Yes?
anyone
Maybe.
saw the lower bowl of the Leafs, I think they would agree.
Yeah. Right? So the issue is now Keith Pelly is fighting an uphill battle to change that perception of the Leafs. And you know what? Quite frankly, it's not impossible. Anyone remember Raptors 2013 before the We the North campaign? Right? So it's not impossible. You can do it. And that's an MLSC product. The Raptors are an MLSC product. So if the Raptors can do it, the Leafs can do it. They just got to chip away at that team culture, at that organization culture. And those press conferences, Keith Pelly can sound like sound like Fabio for all we care, and he'll still be favored and loved amongst the city.
Definitely. And Aaron, like Michael brought up Masai there. Shout out to him. Let's go on to Masai because in the NBA, he's taking over a team that was, I guess, rightfully criticized for the Luka Doncic trade and everything that happened. But he's coming into the situation and he's, hyping up Cooper Flag and saying that he's going to be a king eventually. So, what are your thoughts on just how Masai now is coming into Dallas and the impact he can have on this team?
Yeah, like I think it's a great hire by the Dallas Mavericks to bring Masai Ujiri into the room. As we all know, he's a proven winner with the Raptors. He really helped shape the culture that the Raptors had for a very long time, a very strong, healthy culture, leading to a championship. And then before that, he was with the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets were up and down, but he really brought stability to that organization. Um, and then yeah, as you mentioned, Giancarlo, he referred to Cooper Flag as a king. I'm not really sure how to quantify that. Is a king higher than an all-star? Is a king higher than a superstar, top five player in the league? Um, Cooper Flag is, he's already a proven all-star caliber player. Um, can he eventually be a superstar? I do believe so. He definitely has the tools and will only get better. Top five player, that's kind of a bit more of a stretch. But Dallas would definitely need more pieces to surround Cooper Flag to make a deep run in the playoffs.
Yeah. And Michael, do you think that they have the pieces around him? Like I know Kyrie's there, but there's a lot of uncertainty with Clay. Like, what do you do if you're Masai as a first move there?
That's tough. You definitely want to get some talent around Cooper. Like I think whether it's through the draft or through free agency or through trade, you want to get some pieces around Cooper. Um, it would have been interesting to see what Masai could have done under Anthony Davis, with Anthony Davis, excuse me. But what can you do? He's already traded away, and it is what it is. But I think the main thing for Masai to do is change the feeling and the culture around the Mavs, because I'm not saying it's toxic from a like players hate each other perspective. It's more so despondent because they got rid of Luka, and you could tell that not to be mean, but screw it, I'll say it anyway. Nico Harrison really ruined that franchise. He
Yeah.
really, he really buried that franchise in the ground. And Masai has to go in there, and I don't know why Masai likes challenges like these, but he's really good at them. He's got to go in there and make Mav fans, as well as Mav players and Mav organization members, believe in themselves again. And that's the main thing. Like, forget the trades, forget the talent, forget that will come for sure. And I know Masai's a great talent evaluator. We have the Raptors 905 to thank for that. But he's also really good at changing cultures, right? He hires the right people for the right jobs, and is, for whatever reason, is good at getting people to believe in themselves. And that's the main thing he's got to do. He's got to get people to believe in themselves. And this press conference, mind you, was a great start to that. That one king leaves and one king enters quote. Yeah, it's hard to quantify. Yeah, there's like intangibles. There's a lot of intangibles in that you just don't know. But from a personality standpoint, that's a great thing to say, to be like, hey, don't worry about Luka. Don't worry about the past. Don't worry about Nico. Worry about right now. And that's what I think I appreciate about that. And that's what Masai's got to keep doing moving forward, at least for the next year. And then, hey, find an acquisition there, trade a piece there, sign a free agent here, and then they'll be good.
I agree. And while we're talking about teams and futures, what they can do, the Toronto Raptors pushed the Cavs to Game 7. Unfortunately, they came up short. So I'll go back to you, Michael, with the first one here. If you're management right now, you look at Brendan Ingram, who unfortunately wasn't the factor everyone thought he could be in the series. Like, what do you do with Ingram and just the roster as a whole?
Look, I think he deserves a second shot at it if the Raptors make the playoffs again. But I'm not gonna lie, that playoff series with Ingram gave me a lot of DeMar DeRozan vibes. You know what I'm saying? Where the great regular season, and all of a sudden the playoffs come in, he falls on off a cliff to the point where they're seeing him out with heel inflammation. Now, heel inflammation is very legitimate. Heel inflammation, if not careful, and I, as a hate to bring up my background here as a person who works in the fitness industry, heel inflammation can lead to such things as plantar fasciitis, and if you're not careful, Achilles tears. So, very serious. But I think the problem that we're having is that we've been through this story before, right? We've been through the playoff heartbreaks before. We've seen the Kyle Lowry 0-game effort. We've seen the DeMar DeRozan 3 for 20 something from the field. We've seen the heartbreaks of blowing leads here and there. And so the issue, I think, with the Raptors is not the fact that they pushed the Cavaliers to Game 7. If you look at the Raptors in a vacuum this season, this was definitely an overachieving season, right? Guys definitely played above their heads. Guys definitely deserve a lot of credit for what they did. But for one reason or another, and I think a lot of it just came from the fact that the Raptors were exhausted, I think the ending has left a bitter taste in everyone's mouth. And I think they should do another shot at it. I think they should stand pat. I'm not saying they're going to win the championship next year, but what I'm saying is these guys deserve a second shot at it to see what they can do.
Aaron, what do you think of this Raptors core right now? And should you maybe look at a move, or are you confident in what they can do for next season?
Well, to Michael's point, I would agree. Like, they give the Raptors another year with this group of Jamal Shed, CMB, Jacoby Walter. They all gained valuable playoff experience and all played very well in that series. So I would definitely like to see them back all together. With Barnes, hopefully with a healthy Ingram and quickly. And see how that goes. And then with Mamu, even though Mamu did have not a great playoff series, hopefully he comes back and is able to do what he did in the regular season for next year. In terms of moves that I see them doing, I can see them. I guess they wouldn't be able to get a lot in return for Jakob Poeltl, but I do see him being traded because he didn't really fit in, with the Raptors this season. Like, he looked lost at times. He looked lost in Game 1 of the playoff series against Cleveland, and he just got outplayed by Jared Allen. So I definitely could see him being traded, and then I could see Grady Dick being traded as well. Because and then I saw too that he kind of wants to be traded now because of how he played basically 0 minutes in the entire playoff series. As Jacoby Walter, with his improvement, basically Walter took all of Grady Dick's minutes, which is unfortunate for Grady. So, but yeah, I could see him being traded and hopefully, get some valuable pieces in return.
I'm gonna run this idea by you guys. There's a big name out there. Toronto has some core pieces here, especially with Scotty Barnes, the development of this core. The Taste of the Danforth has been canceled for a long time. So if Giannis were to become a Toronto Raptor through a big trade, what better way to announce it than having Giannis Antetokounmpo be the one to restart the Taste of the Danforth on a nice float coming in and announce the sign?
I'm sorry, I couldn't keep going. I'm sorry. Keep going.
That's a good suggestion. That's
I'm just saying, Keith
great
Belly.
way of putting that all together.
You get Keith
Oh.
Belly, you get the mayor, you get the premier, I guess. You got to be on all the sides there. Be somebody that unites everybody. Giannis Antetokounmpo coming in, the shining white.
Hey, if there's something I'll say about the city, Olivia Child knows how to have a good time. So
Yeah.
she's gonna come up there. Oh goodness. Oh my
Do they
lord.
have I guess, do they have the type of roster and type of return available to even get Giannis? Would that even be a conversation that Milwaukee will even have there?
Well, if a trade were to happen for Giannis, like I would definitely see Hurdle being like basically a throw-in to match the contracts, and then possibly you could add Grady, you could add Emmanuel quickly, you could add a few draft picks to really, I guess like now obviously other teams can offer much better packages, but if you throw in a few draft picks and quickly, right? Why not? Like bring
I
Giannis
wish.
to bring Giannis north of the border.
Michael, do you think they have the type of roster? Because I know Masai 100%. As soon as he got the job in Dallas, he's going to be lurking, and he's going to make that call. Like, could the Raptors outbid
Yeah.
some of these teams?
It's no secret that Masai Ujiri wants Giannis bad. Like bad. But look, I just think that unfortunately, oh sorry, excuse me. I think unfortunately the Raptors just don't have the pieces necessary to swing a trade for Giannis. And I don't think the Raptors are a destination Giannis would want to go to. I think Giannis would want to go to New York. He'd want to go to LA, either Team Clippers or Lakers, or he'd want to be somewhere in Texas. I think that's kind of his destinations. Either team in Texas, by the way. But I think the issue that I'm seeing when it comes to the Raptors from even a trade perspective is if they're going to trade for Giannis, it looks like they're going to have to give up somebody important, namely a Scotty or an Ingram. Now, I get it. We would love to give up Ingram after the playoff series he has, but I don't think they'd want him right now. They'd want Ingram when you're buying high. And at that point, do you want to give up Ingram when he's scoring 28 points a game in game number 50 something of the season? Right? That's the issue, right? That we're running into is that like, do you mortgage your team to take a gamble and get Giannis for what's his contract up 2027, 2028, something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so you're getting maybe a year and some change at best for Giannis Antetokounmpo, which is like, okay, you're going to give up Ingram or Scotty. Sky's untouchable for the record, but let's say Ingram or Scotty. You're going to give up a first round and a second round in either this year or next year, depending combination, and then Jakob Poeltl or Grady Dick. Well, it's going to be Jakob Poeltl because Jakob Poeltl is going to make the contract itself work. So the numbers are going to work for Jakob Poeltl. So that's two players, one star, one serviceable, one healthy, serviceable center, two picks for Giannis Antetokounmpo for 1 year. 1 year. Is that something you want to do as a self-respecting front office? Probably not.
Yeah,
Raptors did it before though with Kawhi.
Yeah, DeMar.
Well, with Kawhi, if we remember correctly, I will say this: it was Kawhi and Danny Green for DeMar DeRozan and Jakob Poeltl. No picks. Oh, and a second rounder, right?
Yeah,
and a second rounder.
Conditional. Yeah,
that's a conditional second rounder, mind you. So like, that sounds like a way more fair trade, and we were able to do that because again we got Kawhi Leonard on the cheap, right? Because
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard was seen as damaged goods and a disgruntled star. Versus now you're getting Giannis Antetokounmpo who scored. He scored like 30 points a game this year. Like
Yeah, on a
he
team
was
he didn't want
great
to be
this
on.
year. Yeah, on a team you don't want to be on. And so now you're going to get a Milwaukee staff who know what's going on, who have learned the lessons of GMs in the past are going to ask to buy high, right? At least for this season, I just think that the Raptors just don't have the package, nor are willing to make the sacrifices to get the 1 year of Giannis Antetokounmpo. You know.
Well, yeah. Imagine Jakob Poeltl, part of the two biggest trades in franchise history, possibly. Like, I would say, retire the jersey up there with Vince Carter at that point, if at least a success. So we gotta keep an eye on that one. And speaking of Kawhi, there's a lot of rumors I'm seeing where there could be a possibility about his contract being void and making him a free agent at the end of the year. If he's available, like, what's the market you think gonna be for him? Like, is it just the Lakers? He'll stay in LA?
It's interesting. Oh, sorry, Aaron, would you like to take this one? I just realized that.
Oh no, you could go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so look at I mean, first of all, if something happens to Pablo Torre, let it be known that was probably the Clippers. let it be known. First of all, if you know, you know. But I think when it comes to the whole situation as to why his contract could be voided, and then where's he going to go to next? I think it's been very clear that Kawhi Leonard, as a California guy and California native, wants to stay in California and probably somewhere where he's close to his family. So we're talking the Clippers, the Lakers, Sacramento. Although
Warriors.
Sacramento's a bit of a stretch. Yeah, the Warriors. Anywhere in California would probably be the destination for Kawhi. But if not, hey, Kawhi, come home. Come home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come home. We'll have CP24 not follow you this time. They are bad. They are bad from following him.
Yeah.
What an embarrassing moment for the city that was, eh? Oh my goodness.
That was. And I fell for it, I fell for it. I believed in it. The plane tracker that, okay, Kawhi's on the plane, but then it turned out complete false. False hope. That's when I really learned about false hope.
Oh my goodness. The worst part is, do you remember? Okay, this is super off topic. I apologize. But do you guys remember when CP24 had the helicopter follow the car they thought was Kawhi on the way to the hotel? And then a crowd of people showed up with signs. Right? Right? Oh my goodness. Which, look, we just came off of winning a championship. I got it. So it's not like that bad. But in hindsight, that was really, really funny.
100%. Like, Aaron, do you think Kawhi is a California destination only type of player right now at this stage, or will he explore other options? And maybe to Michael's point, maybe he comes back to MLSE and says, "Hey, is a Kawhi and the Dine still on the table?"
And is the guy with the coactors, right? Is that still available too? But no, like I see him staying in California. Like, he made that abundantly clear when he decided to go to the Clippers, to play, stay in his hometown, be closer to his family, and then, wanting to play with Paul George and all of that. So, I don't see that changing. So, maybe it's the Lakers, right? Maybe it's the Warriors. Him and Steph Curry teaming up. That would be exciting to see. But yeah, like, I don't see any reunion happening with Kawhi and the Raptors.
Okay, and on that note, speaking of potential reunions, I'm gonna go to WWE, and They're going through apparently some budget cuts right now. TKO. Just looking at the roster, some guys got released from their deal, and some others mutually departed the company. But there's one name that I know, Alistair Black. Him and Selena Vega got released. Alistair Black was back in WWE for like not even a year after leaving AEW the way he did. Looked at as
8
somewhat
minutes.
controversial. Yeah. So what do you think of that, Michael? Like, Alistair Black, did he burn that bridge with AEW, or do you think there's a path to go back to the company?
I mean, well, look, you interviewed Aaron Stevens. Why not NWA? Why not TNA? You know, like if Selena's a huge anime and video game fan, New Japan,
Yeah.
right? So it's not like there isn't a path for them to go somewhere else other than the WWE. And look, there is a path. We now know, and not now know, but we now understand that you don't necessarily have to go to the big two, which is WWE and AEW now. It used to be WWE and TNA, but you don't have to go to the big two to make some money and make a name for yourself. You can go other places, and Aleister Black has that ability to do so, and travel elsewhere. But I think in regard to like just in general, when it comes to WWE budget cuts, this isn't anything new. It's more aggressive for sure, but generally speaking, Raw after WrestleMania means superstars get released, superstars get called up, and development deals get signed. It's just the way it goes. It's the circle of life. This isn't a thing that would have changed under Vince McMahon. This isn't a thing that would have changed under Shane McMahon, Annie McMahon, Bryce McMahon, like whoever. Okay, McMahon, McCann, doesn't matter, right? But I think there's a feeling, and because of what TKO has done with the UFC, there's a feeling that TKO is cheap. And so because of that, this is making more news. I would say Ashpet, pump the brakes, calm down. It's definitely more aggressive. I want to be very clear. Like, I'm not saying it's not a cause for concern. What I am saying is that, when it comes to the budget cuts and all this is nothing new. This happens all the time.
And Aaron, what do you think of first the two big names there? Like, Aleister Black was, up until WrestleMania, he was heavily involved in the storyline and being like a voice there backstage while Pat McAfee wasn't a part of it. He was a part of that program there with Randy Orton and kind of being in those segments where he's trying to convince Orton to bring that other side of him. And now he gets released after WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's just so surprising. Like, here I thought that, with him coming back, when he came back last year, that okay, he's going to get a big push, probably go for the United States belt, Intercontinental belt, or even the push to the lengths of the heavyweight championship belt. And then as you said, right, with him being involved in the Randy Orton storyline, like okay, after WrestleMania, maybe now this is his time to challenge for one of those belts and see how everything turns out. And it's just really unfortunate that the budget cut happened to him. And then also so surprised with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods being let go, as both of them been with the company for over 15 years. Both of them, the New Day, they'll eventually be in the Hall of Fame one day. So for them to get the axe, so to speak, that was just so surprising too. And then I read a story that that Kofi and Xavier Woods, they were asked to take a pay cut, but they didn't want to do that. So then it's like, okay, you don't want to do that, then we let you go. And just, I don't know, it's just now, now there's some tension, and it just ends that relationship on a sour note, right? Because Kofi Kingston, right, like Kofi Mania, right? It wasn't that
like
too long ago.
Yeah.
And now from that to now this, it's just to have this bad blood now is just it's not a good look at all for TKO and WWE.
Yeah, I agree. And like Kofi, it's been a lifer. Like him and the Miz, I think and our truth in the second stint. But like in terms of year to year, it's like Randy Orton, the Miz, Kofi are like the longest tenured guys. So to see Kofi, like you're gonna ask a guy like that to take a pay cut, like I don't know, Michael, is that kind of like disrespectful to someone who's been there for this whole career?
Yeah, and you know what? Okay, so here's the thing. While I'll say budget cuts are normal, in the sense of how they do it, Rock the WrestleMania, the call ups, releases, so on and so forth. What I would say is not normal is asking for restructuring of deals, and that is where these things are getting weird. And the reason why I think the New Day were probably, first of all, the fact that this becomes public, yeah, again, the perception of TKO being cheap doesn't help it. But the other thing is that I think the reason why the New Day were skittish is that reportedly the restructuring of the deal was dependent on appearances. There's a lot of bonuses per appearances. And well, if you haven't noticed, the New Day's not on TV a lot lately. So the idea is that, like, okay, if they restructure the deal where the salary is low on the upfront basis, but there's a lot of bonuses, and the bonus is based on appearance, that means the New Day is going to be held to not make money, and there's a financial incentive to keep them off of TV to save money. And that's where I think they got real, like, hey, hell no, we're not doing that. And that's what led to the bad blood and the release. I think this is a terrible way to go about it. I get the fact that WWE. Here's one thing I'll agree with TKO on, and here's one thing that a lot of people aren't talking about, and a lot of people on the other side are not going to talk about. Is it fair if you're Triple H? Is it fair for you as a person who books the show to make a long-term storyline based upon people who can come in and come out whenever they please and only show up for 4 dates a year? No, it's not.
No.
Is it fair that as a company, if let's say a program doesn't pan out and as a result a wrestler's on the shelf, for you to keep paying that person to sit down and catering, right? Which is another expense, mind you. No. Is it fair if you're a booker and you're writing and you know X celebrities available and they're going to be on the show, that you have to now on the fly change up your plans? No. So a strategy that incentivizes people to show up on TV and work every single week, like a 47-year-old CM Punk does, mind you. 47, just want to put that out there, is a good thing. But is this the right way to go about it? To take your lifers, take your long tenured stars, take veterans in the locker room and say, hey, we're only going to pay you per appearance, and we're now financially incentivized to keep you off TV? Absolutely not. It's disgraceful. It's garbage. It's deplorable. I would even go as far as to say it's greedy. And Kofi and Xavier, they are well within the rights to leave.
Yeah. I think they're going to make that money in AEW. I think they're not going to TNA, I don't think. I think AEW, especially that storyline or, the past interactions they had with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks that WWE even promoted also on their YouTube channel way back when. I think that's easily a matchup they can do there. And it also leads a question. Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania put up the X and walked out, retired that night. Do you think Brock Lesnar was approached about restructuring his deal and he said, you know what, I'm out?
You know what? Go ahead.
Like I did see like some speculation going around that that Brock Lesnar, he wanted to have like a lengthy, maybe like a 10 to 15 minute match with Obafemi, eventually, putting him in over, making Obafemi looking really good. And then Triple H basically said to him, like, no, we're just going to be like a squash, basically, like a few minutes, and with you losing. And then from that, Brock is like, okay, well, you know what? If you're going to have it like that, then I'll just, basically retire at the end of the match. When it's like, okay, like there was also of the speculation that the initial plan for Brock Lesnar was to retire in his hometown at SummerSlam, but based on an apparent conversation that he had with Triple H at before, during WrestleMania, that like change of plans. Like, okay, yeah, now Brock is like, yeah, I'm out now, and then Paul Heyman, right, was also surprised by it too, right, because that his reaction of Lesnar putting up the X was like an actual, breaking breaking the gray area of like, okay, this is actually real. That's an actual genuine reaction and not a work.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. Like, Michael, do you think Brock is pulling a fast one here, negotiating through a WrestleMania ending of retirement?
I hope not. I hope the retirement was genuine, and I hope that he wants to call it. But crazier things have happened in WWE. Crazier things have happened, so I wouldn't be shocked if that is in fact the case, and Brock Lesnar comes back and then retires come SummerSlam. But yeah, like I I just think it speaks to the perception that TKO, be it because of their debts or be it because of their management, is greedy, and it's unfortunate. I think in the case of Brock Lesnar, there could be a couple of booking decisions that he just wasn't a fan of that made him think, you know what, I'm on my way out anyway. Let me just retire here versus retire in Minnesota.
Yeah. Brock Lesnar calling the shots there. They probably I wonder how that conversation would have went. Imagine asking Brock Lesnar, who looks like that. So you want to take a pay cut? We know we agreed on X amount of millions of dollars. We don't want to pay you that. And Brock probably said it doesn't work for me, brother, and hung up. So back to the ranch he goes to farm and hunt and do whatever he does out in the wild. But yeah, Brock, at least put someone over. That's a good thing. Did he make the right call with who he decided to put over, Obafemi instead of Gunther?
I would say
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Oba. Oh, do you see the crowd reactions Obafemi gets?
Yeah,
That's
crazy.
Absolutely. Gunther, I think Gunther does need a little bit of steam right now. Unfortunately, just kind of too in and out. But again, this goes back to the thing. If you're Triple H and you're booking a show, is it and I get how taxing it is for a wrestler to be there every week. I get the injury histories. I get the injury issues with it. I get the burnout concerns. I get all of the things. And on some level, I'll even grant you this. I think that schedule that WWE used to be a contributing factor to why we saw so many issues with wrestlers post WWE career back in the day. I get it. But is it fair for Triple H, the booker, not Triple H, the owner, Triple H, the booker, to try to create storylines with guys who can only make 2 dates every other month? No, yeah, and so if you're Gunther and you're showing up for one match here and one match there and one match there, right? After showing up every week, mind you, when you're getting your crowd reactions, and now you're not getting a crowd reaction because you're showing up once every other month. Of course, you should see that and be like, of course I'm not getting crowd reaction because I'm not there every week. Sorry for the rant, guys, but right? So if you're Obafemi, if you're Obafemi and you're there every week and you're getting crowd reaction there every week, do you not see the correlation there? So of course Brock Lesnar should put over Obafemi over Gunther because Brock Lesnar has the common sense to know that Obafemi is going to be a star because he's younger, he's huge, he has an aura about him, and he's there every goddamn damn week.
Yeah, definitely. Like Aaron, what do you think of like Oba? Like too is ever since Brock and him went at it, like every week the reactions are getting louder and louder. The entrance is transcending WWE programming, where everyone else like there's clips I'm seeing online of people doing his entrance. So like, what do you think of Oba Femi's rise and what the next step should be? Because you don't want the Goldberg situation of he asked him to take a loss after, and he's going to be like, nope, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, like he's very likable, very popular, and for me, I see his next step being heavyweight champion. One day, as early as maybe SummerSlam, maybe the Survivor Series, or maybe if they want to draw it out longer, then maybe next year he wins the Royal Rumble and then wins the heavyweight belt at WrestleMania. And then that will help him even more be one of the main forces on WWE programming.
Mike, what do you think they should do with them? Should they go the Royal Rumble route long term, or you think they got to take advantage and have them do it at SummerSlam?
It's tough to say. It, it, it mm, I mm. Okay, so man, it's tough. Yeah, it's a tough one because you're kind of basing off the crowd. Can you sustain the crowd for that year long like trek that is over to the Royal Rumble, or should you strike while the iron's hot now? Comes SummerSlam, right? Well, SummerSlam's not now, but you get what I'm trying to say. It's like quicker. It's a quicker timeline because you just don't know what the fan reaction is going to be like because of just WWE fans are, and I've heard this before, are victim to their own expectations, right? And it's not going to be enough to just keep doing what they're doing when it comes to Oba. It's just not, right? Eventually, they're going to lose steam, right? Unless you can build Oba to do things more and more and put him in more and more enticing programs, which means Oba's going to lose. And at some point, he is going to lose at some point. And if he's going to lose at some point, do you maintain that momentum, right? Or do you strike while the iron's hot and get him somewhere in some stuff? You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Definitely. It's going to be a interesting few months there. Interesting timeline, especially for Triple H, who's booking this. He got a new extension by TKO, so now I guess he doesn't have that kind of pressure of maybe TKO saying, you know what, we're gonna go in another direction. So at least he has that, knowing he can book this towards next WrestleMania. But this has been fun. This roundtable on this lovely day, I guess, with the Leafs actually winning a draft lottery, turning the fortunes around. The Raptors hopefully can turn things around there, and even WWE. Hopefully, we can see something positive. But if you watch this to the end, this live stream, or stumbled upon it for the first time, we thank you for sharing your time with us and allowing us to entertain you in this aspect. But also want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel, like, share, comment. In the next couple of weeks here, we got some interviews coming up. You could go on our Millions page and see that. And just in terms of guests there on the ticker, coming up next week, I got UFC Hall of Famer Dan the Beast Severn talking about his career. Spoke to him for Fighters Only magazine and what he's up to now. And also UFC Hall of Famer Frankie Edgar spoke to him for Heavy, talked about RAF and his career. So tune into that if you're an MMA fan. And guys, this roundtable, we'll do it again. And hopefully more positivity with all our sports teams that we enjoy watching. Take care, guys.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you for having me.